court. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Tom, coming to you first. What do you see, what kind of a behavior can we concur that Subhash Chandra is displaying? These are clearly and very vividly delaying tactics by him.
In ADR versus Union of India, Supreme Court has clearly directed that a person who is fighting elections or who is filing his affidavit for any election or appointment should mention the antecedents like the criminal cases pending against him, criminal history and other things. And it is mandatory as per under section 125(1) of the Representation of People Act.
Right.
If it is not filed or deliberately not disclosed, meaning thereby the person has concealed some material facts from the Election Commission and he should be punished for this.
But why do you think that has not been mentioned? Why do you think that has not cropped up?
See, there are two cases which has not been mentioned in the affidavit furnished by Mr. Subhash Chandra with the Election Commission, which he has filed.
The one
two
from
cases,
Hisar
one
and
from
Muzaffarpur
and other from Hisar. And one case is for extortion. So it was mandatory as per section 125(1) of Representation of People, because there is a punishment also for 6 months. And Election Commission should take this issue very seriously, because it's also a violation of Supreme Court judgment ADR versus Union of India. See, not filing an affidavit, we cannot expect this from a member of the House, member of the upper house, who has been nominated for the upper house. He should mention it. Otherwise, it's a violation of the Supreme Court judgment. It's also a violation of the Representation of People Act. And what we can expect from a legislature if it is violated.
Right. Okay. Tom Vadakan, coming to you, these clearly seem to be delaying tactics. Do you think they're trying to, chart out a course of action, probably chart out a course of reaction to the conspiracy that they hatched, and they were not probably expecting that, it would be caught and things would go really south for them? How do you perceive this entire matter? The EC has asked them to appear on the 25th. What if Subhash Chandra fails to appear on the 25th as well?
Well, it is a possibility. Vinit, let's look at it. There are fingerprints all over. There is almost smoking gun evidence to establish the activity with the pen and the kind of evidence. There is videographic evidence of the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, it is not rocket science technology. You don't need Sherlock Holmes to establish that the entire exercise is part of a larger conspiracy which has never been seen in free India. I don't think any kind of such activity has ever taken place in a Rajya Sabha election. Now, be what it may, it is clearly indicative of connivance. Now, this basically FIR was not they did not permit the FIR, and now buying of time, saying that he's out of the country. This is all part of a larger game being played out to buy time.
Tom, what does this absence say about this man? In the middle of such a serious, such a stringent probe, he departs, he takes off. What kind of a precedent will he be setting when he will be making policies and making laws for our country?
Well, his role as a lawmaker is already under a question mark. A huge question mark is hanging on his role as a lawmaker, because one sees him as a lawbreaker more than a lawmaker.
Right.
Because if this is the kind of CV that a lawmaker has, it is a huge question mark on the kind of elected member who comes up, because there is evidence and evidence against him, and now he is playing it very carefully by avoiding his appearances, and this is also part of his larger game plan.
Okay, Ashwini, coming back to you, he clearly denied these allegations in a statement that he had issued, but let's also talk about the FIR that the Congress has been trying to file, but for some political pressurization that FIR has not been filed. The SHO over there has complained that most of the people, most of the staff has been deputed for the International Yoga Day. There's a lot of VVIP movement. Do you think it's really that hard to register an FIR?
See, you cannot expect.
Clearly is a case of political pressurization.
It's a connivance which is clearly established or prima facie. It appears that there is a connivance with the Election Commission or the RO who was there, because the allegations are not serious. Allegations are not the general allegations. Allegations are very serious in nature. Allegations are not the general allegations. Changing of pen, And then also second thing you see, not mentioning criminal antecedents, not mentioning criminal cases pending against him, and in number of cases, it's not the first time, and the parliament has also has to take action.
When you say it's not the first time, are there any precedents?
Yes,
are there any
in
examples from the past? The one that comes to my mind is the Vijay Mallya episode.
So not only Vijay Mallya, in 1951, Mr. H.G. Mudgal was also removed, expelled from accepting bribe. Then 1976, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy was, because his conduct was found derogatory, and he was also expelled. Then 1977, Indira Gandhi's Rajya Sabha appointment was also, she was expelled, but later Parliament took its decision back. Then in 2005, this cash for both 11 member of parliaments were expelled, out of which 10 were from Lok Sabha and 1 was from Rajya Sabha. Then Vijay Mallya. It's not the first time it is happening. 1053 of Indian Constitution clearly says that if person is not qualified to become the member of the upper house, then he can be disqualified by the members of the parliament and by the committee and the ethics panel also. And I think it's a issue, it's a serious issue. Mr. R.K. Anand also and other Congress party also, they should file a complaint before the election commission. They should also file a case before the court, and there should be a direction by the court that the election commission should take decision within a period of 3 months, so that we should come to know, Indian citizens should come to know that what kind of foul has been played in connivance with the election commission and in connivance with Mr. Subhash Chandra.
Okay, Tom, coming back to you, it's actually, asking for a lot, but do you think the Election Commission should take some sort of action if, hypothetically speaking, Subhash Chandra fails to show up on the 25th of June? Should they decide on the matter in his absence?
Well, that is what should happen ethically, and that is what would be the correct thing. But now it will be difficult to predict the mind of the Election Commission on what they decide, because I don't think it is a great issue that needs further investigation. If a man absents himself deliberately from proceedings, I think suo motu action should be taken against that individual, and a decision must be taken in his absence. And that is what would logically should happen. And we do hope and pray that it would happen on the same line if the accused does not turn up.
Okay, Ashwini, coming back to you, from a legal perspective, what are the avenues that R.K. Anand probably has not yet explored, and as an advocate you would probably ask him or probably advise him to follow? One of the things that you spoke about is not mentioning a couple of FIRs which were registered against you, and not mentioning them in the affidavit that you submitted for contesting, the elections to such an august house. What else, from a lawyer's perspective, can be, something that he can use to probably attack or bring Subhash Chandra to books?
See, Mr. R.K. Anand is also a well-known lawyer of this country, so he understands laws
but then
very
how come
well.
he's missed this point?
I don't know why he missed this important point, because I was going through his affidavit, Mr. Chandra's affidavit. I found that only 11 cases are pending and not mentioning 2 cases, and it's a deliberate act. When a statute, when a law clearly states that one should file an affidavit disclosing all cases, assets, liabilities, everything pending against him, then why not mentioning 2 cases? It cannot be a simple case, because had it been the case that this case was registered in 2016 or he missed it, it was registered in May 2016. It's a case which was registered in 2015. Case number is 888 of 2015. Case is not a general case. It's a case, serious allegations are there, extortion case is there, cheating is there. It should also, he should also file an affidavit and in the form of the complaint with the Election Commission for asking them to inquire into this, and also if he is found guilty, then they should take action against him.
Okay,
because the punishment is provided. It's not the case. There is 6 months punishment which has been provided in Representation of People Act. So
right.
125, one of the Representation of People Act clearly says that the person should disclose all cases pending against him.
Okay, Ashwini, if we talk about the footage, most of our viewers, and Tom, you have also seen the footage. When you look at the footage, how substantial, according to you, is that footage to actually, come up with a culpable charge against Subhash Chandra, Asim Goel and JP?
See, prima facie, it appears that there was some connivance with these people. But final decision is to be taken by the Election Commission, and Election Commission should expedite this issue as soon as possible. They should take action, and with immediately they should investigate it, and also the decision should come as soon as possible, so that there are allegations or the charges which has been leveled against Mr. Subhash Chandra. If he is clean, he should, why he is asking for dates? If he has not committed such mistakes or he is not guilty, then he should not ask for the date.
And why did he depart in the middle of such an important probe? Okay, Tom, coming back to you, we spoke about the Election Commission, and it is up to them, to further, this particular controversy and actually come up with a solution to, who actually was the winner. Was there some, problems in the voting process? From an Election Commission's point of view, what are the changes? What are the things that you saw were being, done incorrectly when you saw that video? Should they have had more cameras, probably a different perspective of a camera?
Well, it was very... am I...
Sure. Go ahead, Tom.
Have you asked me to reply?
Yes, Tom. This is for you.
See, essentially, it is very vividly clear that the entire... There was a man who spent more time there, and the replacement of the pens are questions which have not been answered by the Election Commission. If that is a sanitized area, and in a sanitized area, how could this new pens could have appeared? And what was Mr. Subhash Chandra doing one day before the event with 8 or 9 people of his staff? Now, there is incriminating evidence against Mr. Subhash Chandra, and despite that, if Election Commission cannot see something, well, I think that is now should be left to the wisdom and the wisdom of the people of India to see that there has been some kind of cover-up operation that's going on, because the video is very candidly clear that there a huge operation has taken place, and I don't think that is something that needs to be further established.
Okay, but there would be a benefit of doubt given to him because of, the procedural lapses, Ashwini, which were displayed by the Election Commission. If they were conducting the election in a proper fashion, the lapses that we actually saw on the video would not have occurred. For instance, Asim Goel, it seems like that he knew where the camera was going to be placed. He had knowledge, he had prior knowledge as to where the camera was going to be, because you could see all the movements that he was making behind the booth were actually premeditated.
But finally, you see, it is to be verified by the laboratory itself. Prima facie, if you submit a video footage with the Election Commission and Election Commission itself is recording the incident, then also they can say that we are sending this video for the further verification. So there are lapses, procedural lapses also, and they may ask for time also, or it may take 1 year or 2 years. What is required at this moment? Early disposal of the complaint filed by Mr. R.K. Anand, and this could be possible when if there is a court's order, because if Election Commission is not initiating action or not taking action in a day-to-day hearing basis, or then and time-taking process is there, then they should file a case to the court, and court may direct the Election Commission to decide this issue within a period of 3 months or 6 months or 8 months, because ultimately it is to be verified by the laboratory. And what kind of dates he is seeking, that no, we are not free on 25th June or 30th June, what we saw from the footage or from the R.K. Anand's statement. What is required at this moment, that all laws and all procedures should be followed by the Election Commission, and Mr. R.K. Anand should also approach to the courts of law so that the early action can be taken in this matter. And 105(3) of the Indian Constitution, as we were discussing, clearly says if a person is unfit, then he can be expelled from the upper house of the parliament.
Okay, Tom, coming back to you, do you think this is probably the apt opportunity for the Congress party? The FIR, we spoke about it earlier, the FIR is not being registered for we don't know for what reasons, probably there is political pressure. Is this an apt moment for the Congress party to actually put its foot down? A lot of elections are coming up in a lot of states, especially in UP. This is the time for the Congress to put its foot down and actually, make a declaration to the public and its opponents that they're serious, about, coming back into the government. They're serious about, actually making changes within the party, and they're serious about allegations and conspiracies which are hatched against them.
You see, at our end, we are doing whatever is possible, and definitely we are moving forward with this whole issue. But as this lawyer on your panel has clearly indicated that he's done a cover-up, he has not indicated the involvement in extortion and cheating and what have you, and that is also ample evidence to move against him. The Congress party will leave no stone unturned in finally getting justice in this matter.
Okay, no stone will be left unturned in getting justice in this matter, but we have been speaking about the legality. Are there any avenues that probably Subhash Chandra will be looking to explore, or probably the right word is exploit, to cover up this controversy?
See,
and if there are any that come to your mind right now?
So he has already become a member of parliament of the upper house. So for what is the best recourse which he may adopt or take, lingering on this issue? So he may linger on this issue, and also the other cases which are pending against him, like 13 cases are pending against him, which we were discussing earlier also.
11 as by him.
11 he has mentioned, and 2 has deliberately, or he missed it. I don't know. I don't want to go into this controversy. But if early disposal in all the cases, because the cases, extortion is not an easy case. 420 cheating is not a case which is registered on the on political rivalry. It's a case which demands, which needs logical conclusion by the court of law. So what is the best thing, best recourse? He may linger on this issue, because in most of the cases there is a stay of either High Court, or Mumbai High Court has given a stay, or the Chennai High Court has given a stay, Lucknow bench of Uttar Pradesh High Court has given a stay. So if there is a stay, then we understand there is a judicial process, and the judicial process, Indian judicial system, we understand that it is a time taking process. So if early disposal is there in those cases, all these cases, and we ask the state governments to take action and the investigating agencies to take action, then of course he has to resign, because there is a judgment of Supreme Court in Lily Thomas case. If a person is convicted for more than 2 years, then his membership will cease.
Right. Tom, coming back to you, the Congress has probably, catalyzed some action against Subhash Chandra. But how important, how crucial, according to you and your party, is the swiftness of the resolution of this case? It has to be fast. It cannot linger on forever, because as is, it's setting a bad precedent. And if it lingers on for too long, it is bad for your party. It is bad for all the members of the Rajya Sabha, and it is bad for, the country as a whole.
You see, the matter is a fit case to go to the ethics panel, and as I see it, the shelf value of this member of parliament is very limited. With so many cases pending against him, I don't think he can procrastinate everything in the law and order in the country's legal system. He is going to be caught at one point or the other, and I hope and believe that this issue will meet its logical end very soon.
Okay, it will meet its logical end very soon. Ashwini, you feel that way, that this probably is not going to be procrastinated like all the other cases that we come to hear about in our country, the delay that is endless, and the lingering on that goes on forever, and people carry on with their lives, and somehow it's forgotten.
See, I was wondering why Mr. R.K. Anand has not mentioned this. He has not filed a complaint case with the Election Commission when there is a law under section 125 of the Representation of People Act, when he missed 2 cases. Maybe these cases 888 of 2015 pending against him at Muzaffarpur and other at Hisar may not be in his knowledge, but he should also file an affidavit, because if he is fighting a battle and he wants the truth should prevail, then he must take an action as soon as possible, so that the Indian citizens, so that the 125 crore citizens of this country must come to know that how a person has been appointed for the upper house, what is going on, what kind of conspiracy is being played in connivance with the government and in connivance with the person appointed. See, there is a conspiracy. If there is a conspiracy, 125 crore citizens of this country must know. They should also come to know that yes, there is a conspiracy and person has been punished, or a court has discharged him, or he has been acquitted. What kind of decision is a final decision is to be taken by the court, but all recourses, all the procedures should be adopted, and all best avenues which are available for Mr. R.K. Anand should be initiated by him.
I asked Tom this question. I'm going to ask you this question as well, straight up. How important is the speed of a resolution in this trial? How much will that matter?
See, of course,
we have to set an example. We have to tell the world, we have to tell the nation as a whole, that tainted individuals who are adept at hatching conspiracies, who are adept at criminalizing a certain pious process, will have to be brought to books.
Vineet, we must have we have seen that Lily Thomas versus Union of India judgment, out of which, when judgment came, then Mr. Lalu Yadav and Mr. Rashid Mashood, their membership was, they became disqualified as per the judgment. And if these cases come to an end, and if these cases reach for a logical conclusion, and if decision is against Mr. Chandra, then of course he has to lose his membership.
Okay, Tom, coming back to you, the BJP is obviously, going to be hard on their heels when they find out that, so much has probably, so much water has gone under the bridge. What kind of a tactical response do you think they will have at hand in the days to come?
Well, if the Bharatiya Janata Party goes by what they preach, I think they're going to wash their hands very quick, because the trail is very hot. There are evidences to establish, and it's a smoking evidence that is available. And then a lawmaker of this kind entering into the portals of Parliament, and that too the Rajya Sabha, I think is going to be questioned, and it will be an ample opportunity for the opposition to take charge. And because we have seen that in the case of Malaya, and he thought he'll get away with it, but then finally he had to resign. There was a move to remove him also. So this is going to go that way.
Okay, Ashwini, final closing thoughts, from you, and as well as Tom. We have seen, the footage over and over again. We've spoken about the evidence that, that can actually harm, the chances of Subhash Chandra actually, being a full-fledged member of the Rajya Sabha. Is there anything that probably has been missed, by the plaintiffs, that can be used in order to nail Subhash Chandra?
See,
I'm not only talking about R.K. Anand, I'm talking about the other parties as well, the Congress party, as well as, the other members like Abhay Chautala,
yes,
who are, part of this entire process of actually bringing him to books.
Yes. So far as filing a complaint with the Election Commission is concerned, anybody, any citizen of India can file a complaint, because there is a violation of Representation of People Act. You must have heard this disqualification of 21 MLAs, and
right.
Prashant Patel, who filed this complaint, he was not an he do not belong to any political party. He is just an advocate, but he filed a case before the Election Commission, and ultimately decision we have seen. So anybody, any person of this country may file a complaint that, look, this gentleman has not furnished the correct and actual particulars and the information which is required by a law of land, and therefore the Election Commission is duty bound. The Election Commission should take immediate action and also verify the genuineness and correctness of the complaint, investigate it, and if a person has missed it or not filed it, then what the law prevails and what punishment has been awarded in the law must be given to that
Are you in
person.
support of appending, legislation as well, which probably allows tainted individuals to come this far when contesting, elections for the upper house?
See, as of now, the Supreme Court judgment, Section 8(4) of Representation of People Act has been this has been declared as ultra virus. So Section 8(4) is not there, and till the time, if it is passed, then it will not have any effect in case of Mr. Subhash Chandra, because his complaint is filed. There can't be a retrospective
can't work in
effect
retrospect
of any law.
Okay, so legislation is not something that can be changed. Even if it is changed, it probably will be too late. Tom, coming back to you, parting thoughts from you. We have about a minute left in the show. How do you see this particular controversy panning out? When will we see the end of this, and probably the end of the people who actually hatched it, and how they will be brought to books? Closing thoughts from you.
Well, the law has to take its own course. A little time may be taken. We have complained to the Election Commission, but if there is additional evidences, we'll certainly change course and add these things. And I'm sure that the Election Commission will have to take cognizance of it, because the level playing field is required. If somebody is deliberately hiding cases about himself and this has come to light, this can be filed by the party in an additional complaint, and I'm sure action in that direction will be planned by our legal department.
Okay, wonderful. It was a pleasure having Tom as well as Ashwini on our show. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on and sharing your valuable time with us. That's all we have on current issues. We'll see you tomorrow here again on News World India. Thank you.